I gave you your props. Now what? I gave you your props. Now what? That's the topic of today's video. How y'all doing today? My name is Ayin, and today we're going to be discussing what I just got done saying. Have you ever found it or experienced you giving a person their props for whatever it is they're doing, their kudos, for whatever their accomplishment was? Sometimes I've even found myself to where, because you're really trying to help inspire, build up confidence, and you're really trying to cheer them on. And you've done this, and it's still not enough. I can think of two situations right offhand. I can think of two situations that it has inspired this video to where I would be complimenting someone else on something, and this other person would take it as a slight, as if me complimenting this other person on whatever it was that we were just doing, because that's the way that I talk, as them not fulfilling a need, or them lacking in some form or fashion. And it's multiple people that I'm thinking of when this has occurred. I remember one time, and I do believe that I shared this on one of these videos here on YouTube, that I was telling of an instance where a family member had complimented me on something that I'd done. It was actually, they were talking about, this was right before I launched the YouTube channel and had things going with my book and what have you. And they were complimenting me on this. And they didn't just compliment me and like move on. They really took time out to really give praise and kudos on what I was doing, some of my accomplishments, because they knew some of the stuff that I had in the fire. And it was such an uplifting, upbuilding conversation, and I knew from just the way that they were sharing it with me. Have you ever had that happen where somebody is just really sharing something, or they're really pouring it on you, and you could tell it's coming from their heart because they're not just phoning it in? This person really took time out to call me and tell me these things, and it was so endearing and so touching. And as we were getting off the phone, I got another phone call from another person. So, of course, like anything, good or bad, am I wrong? Good or bad, when you come out of one situation, you're going into another, sometimes it influences your situations, for better or worse, right? So, with this being something positive, they were like, hey, what's going on? So I'm sharing with them what had just occurred. And instead of them saying, or just kind of flowing right on along with it, they took it as a slight. The reason why I could tell that they took it as a slight, it was just like, I ain't, power just shut off here. Caught my attention, heard that surge breaker, but switching. But they were like, you hadn't shared X, Y, and Z up with me. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I have. But when I've done that, you've either changed the subject or you clearly have shown me that you're not interested. So just because I'm talking about what this person has said to me and I'm just sharing it with you because, hey, you're supposed to be on the inner part of my circle, you would think, and even with just having this conversation, how are you detracting from this? So I was just like, hey, I didn't think that you were interested. So I began sharing some of this. Do you not know? I'd be doggone if they didn't do the same thing that I just got done saying that they were doing. They acted like I didn't say anything, switched the subject on off, and I'm just like, good grief. And as I thought about it, and especially leading up to this video, this is not something recent. This is something from years ago. When I thought about it, I'm just like, man, I've given you props time and time again. But then it really dawned on me and it hit me. Not just from this person. The other situation I'm thinking about with the other person where same thing, it was just different labels, different situation, but it was relatively the same thing. Same thing happened. And then as I started to reflect back through the past, I'm like, man, I noticed a pattern here with these individuals or people like that. And it begs for me to ask the question, hey, I gave you your props, now what? See, it's made me even reevaluate the people that I've had up off of my circle. Because it has me thinking from the standpoint of, goodness, is this the only reason why you're here? But see, as I get older, and for some things, my patience gets shorter. I don't have time for that. I've made another video when I said it's a lot of things that I don't have time for. I am busy. And all of this ego stroking, especially when I look at myself as someone who doesn't need that, all this, don't get me wrong, everybody, I don't care who you are. Compliment is a compliment. It's good, and compliments are good to give because it moves people further along in a positive way. A lot of times you don't know what a person had to do to get where they were for that day, for getting up or just enduring whatever it is. So compliments are always good. They're always awesome. But then when you have a person, you know what? It just comes down to being greedy. That was the subtitle that I had for the video when I came up with this. It was just like, you're greedy. I gave you your props, now what? You're so greedy, you're so selfish, just for the standpoint of me saying something up about somebody else, it brings it back up to you. Well, he's giving props on something that just happened or credit for somebody else saying something that he did. What about me? What about you? Is it not enough for you to use your brain, use the sense that you have to go, hey, look, me and Ain have healthy interactions. We're not tearing one another down. Plus he's told me on how I've benefited him in the past and up to now. I mean, he's talking about this situation with from another person. At least he's not talking behind my back, or he's not talking behind this person's back and talking about this stuff that's tearing them down. Really, this is what you take away from it? How would you proceed? Not asking you as the viewer. I'm just saying the person who is, basically you side jab. You're taking a side. You're taking a jab at the fact of me giving somebody else a compliment. What would you like? But I already know the answer to it. I shouldn't have said anything and started the conversation off of complimenting you. And it's not just them. It was something that I have experienced recently, which I spoke about this in a video. Had an individual that was, hey, they make it known to hey, I'm open for criticism. I'm open for, if you and I aren't driving right, say something. But then it's quite the contrary if you do. So it leads me to believe it's like all of this time that we spent talking about positive and upbuilding and encouraging things means nothing if I have one little serious thing that we talk about. I'm not operating like that. That's the reason why I've done so many videos when I talked about constructive criticism. So you got to be careful of this type of attitude that you bring to people, the way you exhibit yourself, because if you start to have people that's around you, healthy people that's up around you from the standpoint of how they deal with you and their dealings, begin to back off, fall out of your circle, fail to start giving you constructive criticism, then it's left up to you to just recognize everything that you're doing. I guess you're just going to grow on your own. It is possible because there's a lot of things that I catch that people don't have to bring my attention to because I'm in tune with other people's emotions and interactions and how I interact with others. A lot of people aren't like that. But some of the things have been brought to me from constructive criticism from others, and I've taken it. But if you're going to get bent all out of whack, that's my 2 cents on it. I just wanted to take time out to discuss that with you because, like I stated at the start of this video, you can give people their props and kudos for the things that they do, and sometimes it's still not enough. And then when you start looking at the relationship and you start looking at certain things that are going down, that's only the tip of the iceberg. It's a lot more going on there. And like I said in earlier videos, you have to reevaluate your stance on people, things that are up off in your life, because one of the things that I found, and I found since doing these videos, you get tired of certain things and you can't even put your finger on it because you're trying to just be that rock for everybody else. And there's certain things that you don't put your finger on that are zapping and draining your energy, your power. And you're not getting anything back other than drain. So it's caused me to reevaluate. What are some things that I can do better? Just like I've always said on this channel. Recognize things for what they are. Like I said, no relationship is perfect. It's my take on it. Just wanted to take time out to discuss it with you. If you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Check out the book that I've written. Link is in the description box. In the meantime, stay encouraged, avoid being discouraged. I'm Ayin. You have a good one.